Does all knowledge stem from experience? Empiricism posits that our understanding of the world is rooted in sensory experiences. Unlike rationalism, which emphasizes reason as the primary source of knowledge, empiricism argues that the mind at birth is a tabula rasa, a blank slate. John Locke, a prominent empiricist, challenged the notion of innate ideas, proposing instead that all ideas come from experience. He distinguished between simple and complex ideas, suggesting that simple ideas come directly from sensory input, what we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, while complex ideas are constructed from simpler ones through processes of reflection and imagination. This distinction is crucial because it emphasizes that even our most abstract thoughts, like justice or beauty, can be traced back to tangible experiences. Locke's framework encourages us to think of knowledge as something built layer by layer, starting with the foundations provided by our senses. These contrasting perspectives highlight a deep philosophical divide. Do we discover truth through introspection and logic, or through careful observation and experience? Understanding this distinction is key to grasping the broader implications of empiricism. Evolution of empiricism. Empiricism has evolved, influencing various philosophical movements. Logical empiricism, or logical positivism, emerged in the early 20th century, emphasizing the verification principle, that a statement's meaning is rooted in its verifiability through experience. Logical empiricists sought to eliminate metaphysics from philosophy, focusing on language and logic to clarify philosophical problems. They argued that statements not grounded in empirical evidence, like claims about God or the afterlife, are meaningless in a scientific context. This movement marked a significant shift, aligning philosophy more closely with the natural sciences. However, it also faced criticism for being overly restrictive, particularly from philosophers like Quine, who argued that even scientific theories rely on assumptions that cannot be empirically verified. Philosophers that endorsed empiricism throughout history. Although there are philosophers that can be considered as empiricists, like Aristotle, its first formal conception started with John Locke. John Locke's seminal work, An Essay Concerning Human Understanding, laid the foundation for modern empiricism. One of his key contributions was the concept of primary and secondary qualities. Primary qualities like size, shape, and motion exist in objects themselves. Secondary qualities like color, taste, and sound depend on the observer's perception. George Berkeley took empiricism further, arguing that existence is contingent upon perception, a philosophy summarized as esse est percipi, to be is to be perceived. Unlike Locke, Berkeley rejected the idea of material substance altogether, asserting that what we call the external world exists only in our minds or in the mind of God. This radical shift challenges our intuitive sense of reality, prompting us to question whether objects exist independently or only as part of our sensory experience. For Berkeley, reality is a network of perceptions sustained by a divine observer. David Hume introduced a rigorous skepticism to empiricism, questioning the notion of causation. He argued that our belief in cause and effect arises from habit, not logical certainty. For instance, when we see one billiard ball striking another, we assume the first causes the second to move. But Hume argued that this connection isn't directly observable, it's inferred based on repeated experiences. This skepticism reshaped philosophical debates, particularly in science. If causation is merely a mental habit, how can we claim to have certain knowledge of the natural world? Hume's ideas laid the groundwork for later debates about induction and the limits of human understanding. Rationalism versus empiricism. The debate between rationalists and empiricists centers on the source of human knowledge. Rationalists assert that reason and innate ideas are primary, claiming that certain truths, like mathematics or moral principles, are self-evident and do not rely on sensory input. Empiricists, however, argue that all ideas are formed through experience, shaping our understanding of the world. This debate isn't just theoretical, it influences how we approach science, ethics, and education. For instance, a rationalist might argue that moral truths are universal and can be discovered through reason alone. An empiricist would counter that morality evolves from societal experiences and cultural contexts. Empiricism and its application in modern context. Today, empiricism continues to influence fields like science and education. The scientific method, grounded in observation and experimentation, reflects empiricist principles. By prioritizing evidence over speculation, empiricism has become a cornerstone of modern inquiry. However, empiricism also faces challenges. How do we account for abstract concepts like justice, love, or beauty, ideas that don't have direct sensory correlates? Philosophers continue to debate the limits of empiricism, exploring how far sensory experience can take us in our quest for knowledge. These debates highlight the enduring relevance of empiricism. Whether in scientific research, policy making, or everyday reasoning, the emphasis on experience and evidence remains vital. Yet, as Hume warned, we must also remain cautious, questioning the assumptions that underpin our understanding.